Formula One arrives in Japan. Yuki Tsunoda debuts at home as a Red Bull driver, and everyone is wondering. You, me, and over there in Suzuka too. And now, Verstappen keeps insisting. Didn't like the change of teammate? Don't think this was the best solution? Haas and Red Bull show up with special liveries. Aston Martin sells a stake in the Formula One team, but nothing changes. Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, the Japanese Grand Prix weekend is about to begin. These are the main news of the day. Let's go! Formula One arrives in Japan, and after the Chinese Grand Prix, a change occurred in the Red Bull Racing lineup. Liam Lawson is out, Yuki Tsunoda is in. The Japanese driver had started his 5th season with the B team. It started back in 2021 when he was a teammate of Pierre Gasly, then Nyck de Vries, Daniel Ricciardo, Liam Lawson, whom he replaces this weekend, and now Isaac Hadjar have all been in the car alongside him. Tsunoda was never the main choice for Red Bull for a number of reasons. The main one being that he is a Honda driver. This information I always say here might shock some, but it's true. Honda has its drivers, its program, for example. Is this an old Honda driver? Satoru Nakajima, who shared the Yellow Lotus with Ayrton Senna, guess for what reason? Later, when Tyrrell was equipped with Honda engines starting in 91. Before that, in 90, it was already Nakajima, another Honda driver from history, Takuma Sato, who raced for Jordan and then went to Honda alongside Jenson Button. Anyway, Tsunoda is a Honda driver, and that's why he was never seriously considered for a main seat. But according to Red Bull Racing, the reason for the sudden change after just 2 races with Lawson in the car is that Lawson has much less experience than Tsunoda, and the Japanese driver can help the team find solutions for the car, which has been the target of criticism, including from Max Verstappen. And so Tsunoda debuts at home, which we know is an additional pressure. After all, when a driver is racing in their own country, media commitments are intense. Packed grandstands, the public asking questions, wanting to know, appearances on radio, television programs, and so on. And the change will be sudden, because while you are a driver for AlphaTauri, Vickers, and Racing Bulls, whatever name you want to give it, getting the car into Q3, wow, congratulations. Score points, build a statue for the guy. But with a Red Bull, always using Verstappen as the benchmark, the expectations are very different. It's expected that Tsunoda gets the car into Q3, it's expected that he scores points, and if he does something that was spectacular at Racing Bulls, at Red Bull it's the minimum. He hasn't done more than his duty. Rodrigo, but the car is bad. It's bad, but it is, for example, better than Aston Martin's. It's bad, but it is, for example, only worse than Ferrari, McLaren, and maybe Mercedes. Tsunoda then moves up to the main team, and Liam Lawson moves down, being a teammate from now until the end of the year at least, with Isaac Hadjar. As a storyteller and news reporter who does this professionally, I think it's awesome that Tsunoda has moved up to Red Bull. It will be a very interesting story, like Hamilton's at Ferrari, whether it succeeds or fails. The story generates interest. Now, there is a reason, besides Tsunoda being a Honda driver, for not being chosen all these years. Everyone in the Formula One paddock, and although we don't go to the paddock, we know those who do, comments that Red Bull doesn't exactly trust the emotional stability of young Yuki, who has lost his temper on the radio several times, and they must know what he is capable of doing behind closed doors in there. There was even an interview with Adrian Newey saying that for several years, Tsunoda was a red flag for him, meaning a driver with a mark of can't work with this guy. This only indicates one thing at Red Bull: desperation. Because in December, Tsunoda wasn't suitable, and then Lawson was formalized. And now, he is suitable. Speaking of which, Max Verstappen even commented on a post by the Dutchman Guido van der Garde. Remember this driver? Van der Garde is that driver who arrived at Albert Park in 2015 with a contract to race for Sauber, which had already announced Marcus Ericsson and Felipe Nasser, causing a huge legal mess and so on. Van der Garde, think with me, a Dutchman like Max Verstappen, posted criticizing Red Bull and saying that the decision to remove Lawson so early wasn't a good one, and Verstappen went there and liked it. Oh, I can't believe it. Rodrigo has turned into a gossip channel like 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙀𝙧 commenting on this kind of thing now. No, it's because today, the press in Suzuka asked Verstappen about it, and he said it wasn't something accidental, like an unintentional, like on a photo. Asked today in Suzuka about what the international press called something close to bullying and a panic reaction from the team, swapping the drivers, he replied, well, I like the post and I think that speaks about for itself. And he added, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't the kind of thing you accidentally like sometimes. And taking advantage of this whole topic, it's good for us to address something here that I can talk about more in depth during the post-race live on Sunday at 6 o'clock about what I said. The post is up from March 22nd. Just check it on my Instagram because, we don't delete posts here. Look at my face. If Liam Lawson continues to perform poorly like this, after the August break, the one who will move up to Red Bull is 𝘾𝙤𝙢𝙥𝙮. Yuki, I repeat, was never a Red Bull driver, but rather a Honda driver. And next year, he won't even be with Honda. In the caption of the post, I even mentioned it, but forget it. Tsunoda as the second driver makes no sense, right? I ventured a guess there. And the thing is that Tsunoda as the second driver makes no sense. Oh, but they did. Yes, they did. Red Bull has done so many things that don't make sense. My mistake for expecting logic from those who sometimes act without logic, because they gave Daniil Kvyat a year and a half and replaced him with Verstappen, which they did well. They gave half a year to Gasly, a year and a half to Albon, 3 whole years to Perez, who did well in 2021, helped Verstappen in the championship, etc., but didn't do well in 2022, 2023, and 2024. And now they give Lawson 2 races and decide to replace him with the guy they never actually preferred. I return to the topic of the previous discussion. Why was Tsunoda not suitable in December and now he is? To me, this is called desperation. I still think it makes no sense. And furthermore, perhaps this post, which will remain online, as I've said, there's no lack of courage here, might be prophetic in August because I mentioned on March 22nd that if things continue as they are, 𝘾𝙤𝙢 might move up to Red Bull, and he could. Imagine if Tsunoda doesn't perform well at Red Bull and 𝘾𝙤𝙢 racing for the B team starts scoring points, and so on, just like it happened with Gasly, like it happened with Alexander Albon. Do you doubt that Red Bull would promote him in August after the break? I don't. But the thing is, here we make analyses based on the information we have. When the information changes, we redo the analyses and everything is fine. So suddenly, I might have predicted correctly. Let's see in August if Tsunoda is still at Red Bull. Let's see if 𝘾𝙤𝙢 hasn't been promoted to his place. But it's premature. Well, all of this was premature. Let me tell you something here. Many people no longer want to watch Formula One through the traditional broadcast, on TV and so on. Oh, but why? Because I don't like the format. I'm tired of the commentator, tired of the analyst, and so on. All of them are very competent. It's important to emphasize. It would be great if there was another channel to watch. Well, now there is. The project Outro Canal from Splash and Go, our parallel broadcast as a second screen. You watch there, lower the volume, and listen to us here. Me, Rodrigo ADM in the comments, Mateus Ornelas, is our narrator whom we borrowed from the NFL. And so, we will go into the night with this Japanese Grand Prix, watching together, displaying your comments on the screen, responding to super chats, monitoring the radios and race direction, trying to do something different from the traditional format and something deeper, something that brings you more information. We started in the last 6 stages of last year's championship and are now well into the 2025 season, reaching more and more viewers, even more than the competition that has been around for a long time, because I never tire of saying we have the largest and best Formula One audience in Brazil. You! So at 1:45, 15 minutes to 2 in the morning, from Saturday night to Sunday, it will already be Sunday, tune in to the channel and watch us on our parallel broadcast of the Japanese Grand Prix on another channel. All right? I hope to see you there. Haas and Red Bull arrive with commemorative liveries at the Japanese Grand Prix. 𝘾𝙤𝙢 appeared earlier at the beginning of the week with a livery alluding to cherry blossoms, the symbolic trees of Japan, filling the white parts of the car, thus creating this special livery. There are already many people saying, wow, that's a model I want to have. Red Bull, on the other hand, is bidding farewell to Honda. It will be the last Japanese Grand Prix, powered by Japanese engines, which will go to Aston Martin next year. So, in a farewell after much success, the engines joined Red Bull in 2019, and they won championships there. Several constructors in 22, 23, and drivers in 21, 22, 23, and 24 up to now. It's a white paint, whiter than the one from Turkey in 2021. And I admit that I like this one more, on a miniature that will certainly be highly sought after when it appears. But it should only appear next year. Someone commented on Instagram. I can't remember who it was now, but I think the message is worth it. Learn, Ferrari, as you only mess up with your commemorative paint jobs. Aston Martin announced the sale of its stake in the Formula One team. But Daddy Stroll isn't leaving. Nor is Lance Stroll. And this isn't an indication of anyone coming in. Basically, what was done is a corporate restructuring to free up cash for the car manufacturer Aston Martin. What are you talking about, Rodrigo? Calm down. Daddy Stroll and his investor friends acquired the car manufacturer, Aston Martin. They were also already owners of Racing Point, the remnants of Force India, which was once Jordan, owned by Eddie Jordan. And what did they do then? They combined the two starting in 2021, naming the team Aston Martin and giving it a manufacturer's pedigree. With that, they built a new factory, a wind tunnel, brought in Alonso, Adrian Newey, and have been spending a lot. Well then, Aston Martin, the car manufacturer, was a minority within the Formula One team group. And to free up its cash for new investments, launching new cars, etc., it sold its stake to Stroll's own group, meaning it didn't sell to another company like Gurgel or Tigrinho or anything like that. Therefore, everything remains in-house. But now, the Aston Martin manufacturer has more cash to invest and innovate. Basically, that's what happened. Speaking of which, Papa Lawrence reinforced his focus and interest in continuing in Formula One, a team that recently signed the new edition of the Concord Agreement, the document that commercially governs Formula One and is renewed every 5 years, with the next one starting in 2026, 6, 7, 28, 28, and 30. Therefore, no, this team is not leaving Formula One, nor will it stop being called Aston Martin. It was an internal operation, but today, or rather when this transaction is completed, Aston Martin, the car manufacturer, will no longer own anything of the team. However, both still belong to the same people. Tonight, there are already cars on the track because it will already be Friday morning in Suzuka. At 11:30 p.m. also is the first free practice. At 3 a.m., the second free practice. Then on Friday night to Saturday, the same thing goes on at 11:30 p.m. for FP3, 3 a.m. for the qualifying. And on Sunday at 2 a.m., the start of the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. But at 1:45 a.m., we will already be live and without images, talking with you on another channel, our parallel broadcast. You, as I have already explained, watch there and listen to us here. We have been breaking successive audience records, even with 3 consecutive races at dawn. And I keep explaining the concept because in the end, it's something new. Not everyone is used to this format. Not everyone knows that there is now another channel. This week, on Tuesday, the video explaining the money in Formula One, a re-recording, even preparing the ground for an entirely new video coming on Tuesday, explaining the phenomenon of the Formula One explosion from 2018 onwards, when Liberty took over. There are many things these guys did by taking something that was already working from Bernie Ecclestone and taking it to the 10th power. This Tuesday's video adds to last week's, which tells where Formula One came from. And this one explains how it is organized up to today. And then next Tuesday, we pick up where we left off and come up to the present day, explaining the current scenario, how things work, and how they are still expected to grow significantly. On Wednesday, a small but significant story about when Eddie Jordan, whom we've talked a lot about here, including on Sunday, when we discussed teams we love like Jordan offered Ayrton Senna a partnership in the team to attract the Brazilian and thereby also bring in engine manufacturers and sponsors. We could have had a 100% Brazilian team with Senna and Barrichello side by side in '94. So that's it. Leave a like because it's free. It costs nothing, and it helps the channel a lot. Do me this favor, do us this favor, and I'll see you here in the next videos throughout the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday broadcast, and a post-race live at 6 o'clock. Discussing the news and everything that happens on and off the track as we have been doing since 2022, not missing a single weekend. And leave a like because it's free. It costs nothing. And it helps the channel a lot. Do me this favor. Do us this favor. And the surprise comment of the day will be, will Yuki Tsunoda succeed at Red Bull? Yes. No, maybe. Put it here in the comment box so I know you watched up to this point. Our likes, hype, and comments are far superior to channels with 10, 15 times our number of subscribers because our audience is very engaged, and when I ask you to leave a like, you do. To not miss out on anything happening here, you already know we have our notification channels, Telegram, WhatsApp, and now also on Instagram, where you receive notifications of our content. For example, earlier today, people already had the weekend schedule on their phones, to save, to send to friends, etc. And they don't miss out on anything because YouTube is a bit forgetful. Sometimes it forgets to notify you. We also have our social media on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok, linked down here in the description. We're showing the handles here where there's content all the time. All right, so that's it. Have a great Thursday, thanks, and a big hug.